call the meeting of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners to order. Been so many meetings lately, I'm like, where am I? Order. Good to see everyone. Glad you can make it. We're not going to try to prolong the time. We'll take care of business and allow everybody to go enjoy the rest of the evening. Mr. Brown, has the meeting been properly advertised?
It has, yes, sir. And just for your information, for the board consideration, there is a matter that has come up concerning a need to try to do an addendum to the agenda, if that's okay. Resolution from the county attorney related to T-Splosh, certifying the results and presenting those for the bond referendum next week.
Okay. And if we don't do that, what happens?
We need to we need to be able to do it so we can submit it as part of the bond closing next week, if we can, sir.
I think we'll do it.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Will we have to amend the agenda to do these board appointments? I mean, just looking at them, they kind of self-explanatory. Or you want to just do them at a later date? Yeah, well, it's got November, but.
Maybe that's what we're getting them for.
Yeah.
What, do you see them?
So y'all,
I don't see them on here.
y'all are
Not
ready.
on there.
I don't have a copy.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do then.
Well, we can wait till November.
You wait, okay, all right, okay, all right. Resolution then, Mr. Brown, would, after the prayer and pledge?
Wherever the board,
It's a voting item though, right?
it is a voting item, sir, yes.
Yeah, we'll stick the resolution right in there.
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, motion to.
Chairman, I make a motion that we amend the agenda.
T-Splosh resolution, right? Okay, second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, immediately after prayer and pledge, we'll do the resolution, T-Splosh, all right. Let us stand now, and Commissioner Thrift's gonna lead us in our prayer.
Yes, sir.
Pledge.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for this great nation that we live in, Lord. And we just pray, Father, as county leaders, as we come together tonight, that we would just do what is right, help us to understand and to be cohesive, Lord, and to just work together, Lord. We thank you for the many men and women that are serving in our country to protect us, Lord. We pray for their safety as they come back home to their families. Pray for those in the community that have lost loved ones, that you would comfort them during this time. Father, we pray, Lord, also for those that may be sick or those that may be dealing with COVID issues, Lord, in our community. We pray for your healing, Lord. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
While I'm thinking about it, it's on my mind, it's really it's a community issue. When she was praying, I was reminded, you may or may not know that the military, and when I say military, I'm specifically talking about Fort Stewart, is averaging 10 suicides a month, basically between the ages of 18 and 24. 18 and 24. So let's pray for the, let's use the word resiliency of our young soldiers. What we're told is that they're kind of living in a world of isolationism, just those gadgets. Their whole world is the gadgets. So outside of that, when they have issues, they don't know how to resolve them. They don't know how, Sheila, to discuss them with somebody. They don't know how, to reach out. So when I heard that, I'd heard it before, and then I heard it again just this past week. So I thought, boy, now that's not something that's sobering. What is? Because you would have thought it would have been those who Mr. Mosley had gone off to Iraq or Iran, suffering from the PTSD, but these are not that group. These are the younger people who are having these hard times, just dealing with what we call life's everyday issues. So please keep that age group in your prayer. You'll be hearing more about that in case we ever do something as a community.
Chairman, while you're talking about that, Liberty County lost two fine constituent citizens. Today, Miss Dorothy Wedenkamp passed away early this morning, and of course, Mr. Robert Truehaw. Mr. Truehaw worked at Fort Stewart for many years, but he was involved in the community, athletics, baseball, with the rec departments and things like that. But I know he'll be missed. And y'all keep them in your prayers.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll add them to our list for recognition. Anyone else have any, maybe I hadn't heard of everybody who's lost it, but thank you so much.
Chairman McGovern's sister did.
Yes, that's right. Previous Chair McGovern's sister passed away. Yeah. What we're being told is that we're not just dealing with the pandemic, we're dealing with life, all the things that life, and on top of that, we have the pandemic. So it gets to be a heavy load, Yeah. All righty. Now, resolution, Mr. Davis, please.
Yes, sir. Just a little bit of housekeeping. As you folks know, the voters on June 9th approved the T-SPOS and the issuance of general obligation debt on behalf of the county and the city for transportation purposes. And next week, we'll be filing a petition to validate the county and city bonds for those purposes. And this resolution simply declares and publishes the results of the election and authorizes the chairman and myself and Joey to do what's necessary to have the county bonds validated. And so unless you have any questions, I'd ask that the resolution be approved.
Okay. You heard presentation from Mr. Davis. Any questions for him?
And that T-SPOS started October 1st. Is that the one? Yep. And so Liberty County is at 8% total tax.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. For those of you who may not have set your computers or what,
Right.
or folks in business or whatever, operations, the sales tax in Liberty County is a total of 8%.
That's right. And of course, as you folks know, this authorizes the issuance of general obligation debt. It doesn't require you to do that. If you'd like to finance some of those important transportation projects prior to receipt of the tax funds, then you'll have that flexibility.
Thank you, sir. I think you heard, when was that? Yesterday, someone mentioned that some of the businesses, well, we sent out notices to all the county businesses, and the city of Hinesville did likewise. So today we offered to smaller cities that they could use our template if they wanted to, so they could send letters out to businesses in their city. So everybody will be notified that the tax rate has changed. Because some folks are saying they didn't know. So we don't want to give them that excuse.
How are you doing? What you need?
All right. Chair, entertain a motion to approve the resolution from Mr. Davis.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Waller, Commissioner Gill to approve the resolution presented by Mr. Davis. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Resolution is approved.
Thank you, folks.
We don't want to do anything to stop those pennies from coming in. All right, departmental reports, finance, Ms. McGlothlin.
Sorry, I have to take this off, otherwise my glasses fall out. Okay, so at the end of September, we're cruising right along. We have achieved about 16% of our budgeted revenues at almost 5.6 million, and we have spent 24% of our budgeted expenditure. So we are right on target with spending. At the end of September, we had approximately 4.6 months of operational expenditures in our undesignated fund balance. And 1 year ago, this same time, we were at 4.2 months. So we're doing very well, keeping on track. There are a couple of departments that are running slightly ahead of schedule. Overall, we're within our spending parameter for the period ending September 30th. But there are a couple of departments that are running slightly ahead of schedule. I'll just highlight some of those for you. Elections, as you can imagine, the increased expenses, unbudgeted expenses related to COVID issues and that sort of thing, extra polls, extra precincts, extra poll workers, security, and that sort of thing. You'll probably see that department. It is possible, depending on how the elections go, if there's any runoffs, any further elections, it is very possible that that department may exhaust their budget. It's a little too early to tell, but at the way that they're operating right now and the restrictions and guidelines that they have to abide by because of the COVID-related things, it really has been taking a toll on them. Risk management, as you know, that's where we pay our annual liability insurance, umbrella insurance for all of the county. So that department's going to be skewed for the rest of the year. As is general admin fees, we pay those quarterly, so that looks a little skewed as well. We pay that at the beginning of the quarter, so you see 2 quarter payments there. So that's why that looks a little skewed. Superior Court, We make an annual payment to the law clerk, and so that's instead of a monthly payment, that's a one-time lump sum payment. So that's kind of thrown that budget a little off. That'll come right back in. Those are exact payments every month, so that'll fall right back in line. And circuit-wide public defender, they require a prepayment, so that's always a month ahead. Emergency management, they're running a slight variance because of the purchase of a 2019 F-150 police responder. And then your roadways and walkways, they had a purchase of a Freightliner, excavator, and a Western Star truck with a trailer. Not sure what all of those are, but it's just what I see in the titles when I look at that. And then one other thing, your other financing uses, that actually represents a transfer out to sales tax 6. As you probably are aware, we engaged with Heritage Bank to take out a $600,000 loan to help with the construction of the Easton Fire Station. And so since that is a general fund debt, we had to receive it in the general fund and turn around and make a transfer out of the general fund into sales tax, because the debt service for that will be paid by the general fund. So we couldn't just receive that into sales tax 6. I do want to point out something, though. While that shows, your other financing uses shows a $615,000 negative variance, if you look at the very front page and you look at the revenues of other financing sources, you see you've got about an $900,000 positive variance, because that's the revenue we took in and then we made the transfer out. So neither one of those were specifically budgeted. We thought that was going to wrap up before the fiscal year end, but it ended up taking a lot longer. But we did receive that money, shifted it over to sales tax, and now we'll have the rest of the funding for that Easton Fire Station.
Okay.
Solid waste operating nicely. Right now they have a slight net income of about $107,000. They've received about 23% of their budgeted revenues and spent about 20% of their budgeted expenditures. Every department within solid waste is operating below their estimated budget for this time period. 911 is, their special revenue funds, 911 is running slightly ahead of schedule, and that's because of an annual payment that's made to Motorola every year. So that's kind of thrown their budget for a little while. In a few months, that'll come right back in line. Sales tax, this is so wonderful. If you look at the third page of your sales tax 6 report, you'll see that the September distribution was $1.36 million. That was significant. So to date, since May 17 through September 2020, we are now $638,000 ahead of schedule. That was a big thing, and that really, we had budgeted to receive $755,000. For the last few months, since June, we had been receiving slightly over $800,000. This $1.36 million has to do with an audit adjustment that was made at the state that covered, I think, from 2015 through 2018, where a very statewide large, they wouldn't release which business, but apparently this business has several stores or locations that when they turned in their tax money for those years, it was coded incorrectly as to all state tax. And once they went back and audited it, they saw that the state should not have kept all of that, that part of those taxes should have been sent out to local governments. So that's why, my guess is that in October, that'll fall back down into the $800,000 range, which is still really good because we've only budgeted $755,000. So it looks very good.
Kim, I thought today, you all may have been on the call, Joey was on the call. Colonel Logan mentioned that 1,000 troops, is that right? Are gone to South Korea, and 1,000 just came back. So my point is, we weren't even fully at full strength here, and dealing with the pandemic, and we did fairly well.
My guess is people are just shopping, online shopping or something. I don't know what it is. Between Walmart and Lowe's and Chick-fil-A.
I'm hoping those that just came back We'll shop some more.
I'm telling you.
With the mask on, of course.
But it's good stuff, yeah.
Social distancing.
Good stuff, though. That really helped it. I mean, that
Yeah, but when
really
today,
put us over the edge and even gave us a little cushion because we were, the first 2 years, we weren't really sure we were going to hit our 54 million mark. But now, I feel like we're going to hit it. And we might even exceed it if we continue this path. So that's very good news.
that's good news.
That's all I have for your regular monthly report. I thought you wanted me to mention the CARES money.
I think that question's coming up about the application for the funds, what funds are received,
So this was an exercise, put it that way. It was an exercise to gather up all the information and submit it to the state to get our allocation. And we actually were very successful. We received a total of $1,021,303. And this was reimbursement for all of those added expenses that we incurred and that our public safety departments incurred that were not prepared to handle and they were not scheduled to deal with. So we were able to file for reimbursement. This was actually, we had lots more expenses, but this is what we were allocated and this is what we received. But we did get it, so we were successful in getting it because I know there were some local governments throughout the state of Georgia that did not, I guess, left some money on the table because they did not provide the proper documentation and did not submit it in a timely manner. But we had ample expenses. We actually have more expenses. But my understanding is that they're probably not going to release any more money to us. So the added expenses that we have to cover ourselves.
tag there too, our expenses obviously are ongoing.
Ongoing.
Unlike cities and they don't have the court systems
Or the
payroll
elections.
or the elections or any of those divisions that it really have taken a toll to continue to take a toll.
Right.
On the PPEs and everything, extra people that have to be in place to monitor all that.
Yeah.
And I guess just for the record too, I think everybody knows the courts have not cranked back up. We did see that Atlanta Judicial Circuit plan this week, which called for some screening outside the building. So I guess the point being, I don't think we know yet, unbudgeted, what we're going to be up against for the remainder of the year as jury trials and grand juries crank back up. There are going to be some more added expenditures.
Okay.
Right.
Let me,
Go ahead.
okay, let me do this and you follow. Ms. Sheila, come forward. Commissioners, just so you'll know, there's been some inquiry from the community. Sheila runs Heinz Day Spa, which happens to be in unincorporated Liberty County in Commissioner's 5th District.
Yes, sir.
So she inquired, and then just a few days ago, a letter, it's at your place, a green sheet, a letter from Dorchester. You may have, I know, Commissioner Gill, you know the city of Hinesville has a dinner grant program where they allow people to apply. So the word is out that, some people are using CARES funds for these kind of things. So I told Sheila to be transparent, come and present to the commission, and then we'll get back with you. As Mr. Brown just explained, we have to do some old-fashioned arithmetic to see where we land. But I want you to come and present so they can hear from you and know that we are now getting inquiries from the community about some funding that not only Hines but other cities have done too.
Well, that's what confused me, and then Mr. Brown explained that you had the extra expenses in the county that the city didn't have.
Right.
And then I read in the paper today that the other monies weren't coming, that everybody was
Right.
expecting to come.
Right.
And so I guess just the extra expenses that we have is business owners with the liability and the insurance and the taxes. I can cover everyday work right now, but it would just be a help. But maybe we could get some extension on payments back, when we have to pay our taxes or something. That might be of some assistance to us as business owners, that we're just as struggling, as the city is. And I just happen to be on the wrong side of the county line. And people I shared it with, they said to me, "Oh, we got our monies." And I'm like, why did I tell you? But I appreciate everybody is struggling, and I appreciate you letting me come to the service or the meeting today to hear. And I do appreciate that, the elections and all the kind of things that we expect that just take for granted. We don't realize the money comes from somewhere. So
Yes, they do.
as business owners, we'll kind of just stay there and be glad you're, on our side. So, but thank you for letting me come,
Thank you.
Mr. Lovett. Thank you,
Commissioner Thrift?
Connie.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch with Kim, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to touch on those bases, you know, that, kind of like Ms. Sheila said, that the cities got CARES, and they went ahead and offered businesses, I guess they didn't put it in their general fund, and they offered the businesses rather than we put it, ours was for the safety and other expenses that the county has incurred because of COVID.
Right. I'm not sure what the other cities do. I'm aware that City of Hinesville has offered some application for
Right.
grant assistant. And I believe that the City of Flemington also made some
They did.
one-time
Grants.
contribution to some nonprofits maybe that are struggling and trying to help out. I've heard a couple other things that other cities did. Not
But at this time, it looks like maybe the governor is only giving us that one pot for now, unless something else comes in. And ours has already been tagged.
Yeah,
For
we
the
actually had
employees that
all
we
of
actually-
those expenses
Right,
that we
we've
had.
already incurred them.
Yeah, these aren't things that we plan for going forward.
Right, okay,
And,
yeah,
and
that's what I
unfortunately,
wanted.
and one of the biggest areas, and I think Mr. Brown touched on this, two big areas, the jail and the elections, what they're having to deal with now.
Right.
For the measures that have to be in place regarding security, regarding extra poll workers and monitors and signage and precincts and
And then-
everything they have to do COVID relating. I mean,
Exactly.
very, very specific.
And then we're going to see the courts open back up, and we don't know where that's going to go, so,
Sure.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, and like I said, we were sitting with a whole bunch more that we
Right.
could have filed for.
Right.
And I still have expenses that we haven't been reimbursed for. But my understanding is the latest word, like you mentioned, was that they said there may not be a round two, phase two. So until we hear any more in a bit.
Joe, will you address, I hear somebody, I know there was a window of forgiving late fees and all that, but that's ended now, hadn't it?
Yeah,
I think it ended.
I don't think we had any control over, Mr. Chairman, was the late fees on water payments.
Okay.
water and solid waste.
Right, water and solid waste.
Which we did. We suspended any disconnections, we suspended any late fees, but we did reinstitute that in October.
But when Ms. Sheila references maybe giving them a break or allowing them to delay property taxes, who's
Unfortunately, state law is pretty specific on having to pay those property taxes within the due date or certainly within a 12-month period.
Mhm.
Now, we'll see what happens next. So I can't speak for the tax commissioner.
Okay.
He may do past the deadline.
Okay.
Inside that year, I know he's bound by state law, to have to.
Okay. All right. All right. I want you to hear it all right here. Hear it all right here.
Be nice. Right, that's true.
That's all I have unless anybody has any other questions for me.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. Joy, if you could turn to the sales tax 6 road money detail. It's not a number on it, but I just, so, are you there? Yes, sir. Yeah, and I know I had you and Mr. Chairman on the email traffic and on the Wellborn ditch project that I was looking at. Is that on here?
Yes, it is.
That's that City of Hinesville Wellborn Street project? That's it?
Right.
Okay.
On E there.
Yeah,
It's,
but-
well, it's listed on E, F, and G. No, E, I'm sorry, D. Yeah, it's District 4, District 1. I'm trying to see where all this is.
It's not, it's, I think should be 4,
5 and 6?
4, 5, and 6.
5 and 6.
Is it?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm-
It's not on 6.
It's not on 6. I probably put that in a wrong district, and I'll make a note.
Okay.
It is in yours. It's in 4, and it's in 5,
And it need to be in 6.
and it needs to go in 6.
Okay.
I will check that.
Yeah, Kim, I believe, take up too much time here.
Mhm.
The other one, and where that may have got a little confusing, is the Yeoman's Road, where we were talking about doing something on there. Or there was a split between one and some others.
Yeah.
But we
Okay, yeah, I saw it, written on here, the verbiage on it, but when I was looking up at the obligations, where the numbers were, I didn't see it. Just wanted to make sure that, Eddie keep his promise.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you go ahead and I'll pay you back. Okay,
You promise?
Go ahead and have it done and I'll pay you back.
You promise, right?
Okay.
That's the way you do it, don't you, Mary?
That's what you do.
We pay you back.
Meredith sitting in the cut chilling, waiting on me to pave another road, so.
That's what I'm waiting on.
Mr. Chair, I just have
Yes, sir.
a quick question. Under the elections, and of course, I understand, you know, with dealing with the COVID and everything that they're going over, but I can't remember, did we increase their budget this year because of
No, we didn't. I'm not sure it's even as much as it was last year. And that was one of the things that Mr. Brown and I discussed when we go to adopt the millage is looking at if there are any unidentified things that have taken place that we did not know about prior to June that we probably need to consider amending the budget for. Usually, there is enough savings in other budgets that kind of help offset that. And it's early to tell whether or not they'll use it or all of their money. But it's definitely something, yes, that we probably need to watch.
right, and I guess that's what I was thinking about, at least every 2 years, you know, with the gubernatorial election and also with the presidential election, that we just increase the budget a little bit more for elections.
We
because-
actually
talked
went
about
back,
that.
we actually went back and looked
Yeah.
at the 2016
Yeah,
budget.
we did.
And we mirrored that, unfortunately.
Because of, right.
Because of the COVID. And I think just because of the political atmosphere, things have,
Political atmosphere.
And they had
I
to
guess
buy
I
the new
missed
machines
that.
and all that stuff.
the mudslinging.
Yeah, there was, as you know, a bunch of things.
Storage.
New machines.
Right.
COVID, so
Right.
more absentees.
The absentee
Storage,
ballots.
right,
I mean,
everything.
just the postage alone.
Alone
you
is,
know.
right,
New polling, extra polling.
absolutely.
Secured boxes.
Right, right.
We never had to have certified law enforcement officers during early voting
Right.
at precincts. We never had to have that. We have to have that.
Yes, you do.
We do.
Right.
I mean, they're very specific about that too. And you know, that's time and a half.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Good? Everybody's good? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Engineering, Mr. Long.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Got a rather long report tonight, and I'm not gonna try to hit every one of them. I'll hit the highlights and then just open it for questions that you have. The LMEG, I just gave you a recap of what we decided at the last meeting so that, to make sure that everybody was on board with the way we had it done. The East End Fire Station, they had a inspection on the building today. Things went pretty good. Also, we're redoing some of the asphalt out there, so we were out there today and milled out some of the old asphalt, and we're going to get an overlay, so that'll look really good when it's done. Supposed to do the asphalt tomorrow. Melvin Lane, it's doing good. They're gonna be a little bit late, but we have a couple of rain days to be able to get them. They've had just an onslaught of rain during September that really gave them some fits as far as getting done with that job. So, but they're making progress, and they are working diligently on that project to get it done.
Yeah,
It's my understanding that the asphalt guy will not be here next week, but it'll be here the week after.
first week of November.
Yes, sir. And then after that, I'll wrap up pretty quick.
Can I ask this while I'm thinking about it? Are we using our SPLOST signs appropriately when we're doing this project so that they're posted in those areas where we have these projects going on?
For the most part, yes, sir, I believe so.
It's
And
one,
I
it's
think
one,
there's a splash sign on
It's one at
all these
Melbourne.
roads.
When that well,
one at Melbourne.
Yeah, there's one on Melbourne, because we had to change the legs out on them, they rotted. They've been on too long.
Yeah.
just got that.
All right, that's good.
I just want to remind us of that, you know.
That's right. at the last meeting, you asked me to have Yeoman's Road ready to go, so it's ready to go in the paper whenever, the funding's available for it, so just let me know what to do there. Third,
Mr. Chairman?
We ready?
Yeah, if you want to look at the difference before you say yeah.
Has something changed?
No.
I better ask that question.
No,
You're right.
sure it does.
Thank you.
no, the budget amount stayed roughly the same.
Okay.
And, you know, when you take away what Commissioner Stevens has with LMIG, I had the number on my phone and I didn't write it down.
Don't worry about what you got on the phone, Trent.
Yeah.
What I need from the chair.
It takes you down to about $850,000 minus the LMIG money that has to be come up with sales tax. So how you guys split that, I'm gonna let you guys.
It was
discuss that.
314 when this changed, excuse me.
Is that Chairman?
It was 314.
I got, well, if we do it that way, I'm looking at, I need 325.
325.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're pushing me.
All right.
I'll
Yep.
go with 320.
Well, now we negotiating.
Get it, son?
Oh, my money.
Man, pressure bust pipes to make diamonds.
Yes, sir.
Sounded a bit
Okay,
like you
but
sounded
it's
down-
ready to
sitting
go
down for
whenever.
a full meal deal, and you
Oh, yeah, buddy. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, we'll go ahead and get that in the paper so that we start getting our proposals on that. That's been a long battle, hasn't it?
So he has his money for.
Hey, Justin, you live in Hounsville, be quiet.
Just saying.
We're partnering.
All right, Third Street, Syke Brothers is contractor on that. The asphalt was down on the job. They got a little bit of off-site drainage work to do, and all the driveway turnouts are being paved this week, and I think they'll probably finish those next week. They'll come close to meeting their completion date, but they did have 40 days of rain that they're asking for, and a majority of that was in, 15 days plus wet days in September. So they did have a big change there. What I'd like to be able to do is give them a time extension so they can finish this job. They are paying attention to it and are on the job site. So if that's okay with you guys, with the rain days that they do have, I'm going to give them the rain days. Utility ordinance, I hope by the end of next week to have my first draft done on that. That's been a long time coming. My daughter got married this month, and I'm a little behind on that, but about to catch back up on that one. Broward Circle Drainage, we did meet with the Development Authority, and we got the easement that we needed from the Development Authority, so we're getting about ready to put that in. The impaired water samples. So as part of our MPDES permit, we have to sample 2 places on the Peacock Canal. Really, one of them is on the Alligator Creek off of Hines Road, and the other one is down closer to Riceboro. But we have to take stormwater samples and get it sampled to make sure that we don't have any pollutants in it. And so far, we've been doing it, and our samples have been coming back good. We go out, we collect a sample, we take it over to Test America in Savannah. They run it and then send it back to us. So it's working out well. We did locate some dead trees at the intersection of Bill Carter Road and 84. Shortly after we did that, somebody came and cut them down. I don't know who cut them down, but they're cut down.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Appreciate it.
I thought we did.
With a karate chop.
That's all it took.
That's why he was so ragged.
They were dead, you know.
Yeah, they were off the right of way.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Thank you,
So-
Mr. Gillett.
We've looked at several different things on Smiley Loop Road. Clint was off this week. So I told you I was going to try to have it ready for you today, but he's been gone, so I want to make sure I look at with him on Monday when he gets back to make sure I give you a good call on Smiley Loop Road.
So that's District 1.
Mr. Mosley, you heard that, so if you get another call on it, you know what's going on.
Are you getting calls?
Yeah,
Okay, good. All right. Tipping station, the transfer station tipping floor, the contracts are all back. Chairman, there are contracts in there I need to get you to sign if you have a chance. We're gonna do the pre-construction conference next week, and then, we're gonna actually replace the floor on the weekend of December 4th. That's the weekend after Thanksgiving. So, basically, the transfer station will be shut down sometime on December 4th, and it'll be closed all weekend while we shot blast the floor out and put the new floor in. So that'll be interesting. If you want to come by and look, it's always an interesting operation if you want to look at it.
Will it be ready for them to,
It'll be
jump
ready
on
Monday morning.
Monday morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I have impaired waters on here twice. I thought something sounded familiar.
Because your daughter got married. And you,
Yeah, this is all out of whack. Well, I actually did it a week early.
Yeah.
So, we talked about transfer station tipping floor. We looked at some drawings for, center turn lane on 196 as part of the T-Splost. And that should be E.G. Miles Parkway, not Moles Parkway. We also looked at another place out at Limerick where there were some dead trees that were on the edge of a right-of-way, and it turns out they were off of our right-of-way. So we looked at that for the road department. We did have some flood map meetings with FEMA. There's another round of revisions because of an error they have that's going to hit part of Alligator Creek and part of Peacock Canal. So probably in a year, we'll have another round of maps that will be updated. So what we ended up doing was giving them a lot of information that we have. Different people have requested flood certs that are in the affected area. So we gathered all of that information and got to them. And we actually also went through a lot of our road deeds that we did, 15, 16 years ago. And a lot of it we got on scanned in, so that's not just sitting in the file anymore. It's scanned so it can be a little bit mobile if we need to. So I had some girls working on it. It didn't have a lot of money tied up in it, but we needed to get it where it was updated and a little bit more current.
Trent, on that canal you're talking about between Hines Road and 84. Now, the report that you just was talking about, of course, about the water samples, will that go to the state or will it go to the, who does it go to?
So we have to sample it and review it on our end.
Right.
And at the end of the year, we turn it in with our annual report to the state. So it's not like we do sampling and they have to review and approve whether we're sampling. It's a self-regulate, but report at the end of the year what you did.
So as far as the, what is it called, a hydrology report that tells how much water used to go down it 2 years ago, and now you know that it's going to be more than that with the added asphalt roads and driveways in the subdivisions, right?
No, that's not what this is for.
Well, when will that come into play? I mean, how do we know then, you know, whatever we do upstream is going to affect, number one, what's going under 84?
You're absolutely right.
And of course, DOT will have to be aware, unless they got off at that Parker's and went the wrong way, they don't know what's going on behind that building. So who keeps those folks informed? Because, I mean, with it just coming out of the reservation 2 years ago, it would nearly come over 84.
Right.
So who gives them all of that information?
Okay, so there are several issues in your statement that we take care of. First, the impaired waters that I talk about. Basically, we're looking at dissolved oxygen, metals, and biological oxygen demand to see if there's any, solid, sanitary waste in it. We're trying to look at quality. The samples we're doing have nothing to do with quantity. It's all about quality. And that's what the MPDES program is about, is more about quality, not quantity. Now, when it comes to quantity, we have in our ordinance, and all the municipalities have in their ordinances, requirements for stormwater retention. So that as you do a development, you are not allowed to increase the stormwater over what the pre-development rate was. Now, as we do those, the developer has his engineer design the system, and we do our hydraulic calculations, the hydrology reports you're talking about for each subdivision, and we have it reviewed and approved. Now, in the unincorporated areas, if somebody comes to Liberty County and wants to do something, I review those, look at those reports. For all the municipalities, the LCPC's engineer looks at it, and she's very thorough about checking those. So that is all done in-house before it ever gets to city council or to county commissioners for approval. So all that design is done before you approve the project. And two, for subdivisions, you have to have all that stuff installed prior to the approval of the subdivision. So it's a process that takes place in what we do to try to help that. Now, we have not had a master drainage plan done in 15 years. Well, we did one right there. Simonton did one for us in the early 2000s. Yeah. Yeah, Paul Simonton did one for us in the early 2000s. And that's the last one that we've had.
So 20 years.
Yeah, it's been at least 15 years. And a lot has changed. And I'll be honest with you, we have copies of it, and when we're doing things for Liberty County, we regularly pull it out. And especially in some of the small areas that haven't experienced a lot of growth, we're able to get some flow rates out of it to make sure that we're designing things to the right size. So, you know, that is something that we could consider looking at trying to do in the near future. But that's something we need to discuss, and that really needs to be developed really more at staff level before we bring any kind of proposals to you for a master drainage plan. But as far as state approval on our quantities, unless it's for a particular road or something of that sort, there's no state regulator as far as quantity goes. That was a long explanation, and I hope I answered your questions or all of them.
Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, you were talking about this, and I saw it in the report, and I figured it'd be a good time to ask you, I mean, I don't know who is the engineer in the project itself, but somebody obviously will measure the retention pond and see that that's the size that needs to be. Now,
Yes, sir.
I mean, everybody in this room might have not seen it, but I've seen it, you know, a dozen times where it's just before coming over the highway. And that was when there was no asphalt back there. So just want to make sure, because we know what happens then, it goes to a Homestown road.
That's right.
And then, of course, goes on down. But I mean, if you're monitoring it, hey, that's fine.
Yes, sir. Another thing that we do for Liberty County and that LCPC does, the engineer has to survey and certify that the drainage structures were installed as designed, that they operate as designed. So, and there's a lot of not ifs, ands, or buts, but there's a lot of variables and ways to be able to handle it and meet the requirement.
Let me ask this, since we're talking about that, and I know that LCPC, and they handle all the subdivision in the cities, and all that's done, as Eddie said, upstream. But let's say, is DOT, is the state involved? Because it does have to go under 84, let's say right there by the bus barn on 84. Is DOT, even though we got the LCPC is doing their job, is DOT still involved at some way, because it's got to go under that cover at 84?
No.
They're not?
So, for instance, Tranquil South subdivision that is behind Stacy's store, and it discharges into the canal that crosses under 84. As part of the review process locally, we have to do the design to not increase the stormwater runoff over the pre-development rate. In that particular subdivision, we also did some floodplain management where we didn't fill any. So what we ended up doing is creating some overbank areas so that when the Peacock Canal backed up, that it has somewhere to go. So we excavated some pretty large areas, and that's done as we go along and as it's done in the field, versus constructed. Now, we did end up having to get the engineering firm did the flood maps, Dewberry and Davis. They helped with that, and also FEMA reviews it and approves what we're doing in that area. But as far as DOT saying, hey, you've got a development upstream, you're impacting my box culvert down here, there's no requirement or mechanism to make that happen.
Okay. And I had another question. Trent, on the, you finished with the Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that, you know, it's dry right now. And that's why, I don't want to talk about it when it's wet because it's too late. It's dry, so that's why I just want.
You're exactly right.
Well, and I guess in layman's term, I'm not putting words in Eddie's mouth. I don't think he would let me do that anyhow. What I gathered from what he said, when there was nothing back there, it almost topped 84. Now there's a lot back there.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the engineering and the LCPC and everything, they are 100 and however many % sure that it ain't gonna be more because of the subdivision regulations is more than sufficient to keep everything at bay on site, and there is no addition. So if it gets close to toppling 84, like it did when there was nothing there, it's not because of the subdivision that was built, it's because that's just the way it is.
That's right. We've done our due diligence.
No change.
That's right.
If it's come close to toppling like it did 10 years ago, and if it does that again, it's no impact on the subdivision.
Right.
Has no impact on it, okay.
Doesn't have any impact on the subdivision.
No
We've
liability
done
is
our,
my main thing.
you know, we've tried to do our due diligence so that we're not affecting downstream. That's one reason we're submitting to FEMA, so you get a no-rise certificate, so that you're not causing that, the flood elevations downstream to rise.
Okay. And I guess, Trent, and I think I was supposed to be at this meeting, but I was out of town. At the E.G. Miles Parkway that you're looking at as part of the T-Splosh, that's the Arlington Park area?
Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. It's from, the little sketch we did goes from Hardee's back to the railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Just showing what a left turn lane would look like in that area.
And
And it was just a concept.
right, that's what I'm saying. It's a concept that you could do, or I guess any of us could do. I mean, you're the engineer, but the DOT, it's a state highway. I mean, they would, for that to happen, they would.
Sometimes giving them the little concept sparks interest to spark the project.
Yeah, they don't really do anymore. They quit several years ago doing engineering except for their projects only that were 100% funded.
Even on a state highway.
Yeah, even on Airport Road, when we did that widening out there, we had to engage an engineering firm to do the concept. Present that to them in the beginning of that project many years before, and then get their buy-in to be able to fund the construction costs.
Yeah, I couldn't make it that day. Was Al out there? Was Al Williams out there? Or maybe it was
So you're talking
another.
about this week? Or
No,
last week?
this been a couple of weeks ago. It was another meeting, but I couldn't make
Yeah,
it.
there was a meeting there at Arlington Park at the
Yeah,
intersection.
yeah.
And I was not
About
able
that
to be there
intersection.
either.
But you just said a conceptual drawing.
Right.
I met with, because that's part of my commission district, Arlington Park.
Right.
And the guy that's been complaining since, I guess since he moved in there. This is on TV, ain't it? Well, he hasn't been complaining since he moved in there. But anyhow, I gave a conceptual drawing that I think works pretty good, so I'll share that with you.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, I
Please
will,
do.
yeah. You put a dog leg left in there, and you go straight across to Surrey Road, and you can put the light right in there, and you have to stop back, but I'll show it to you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Okay, all right.
It's funny you mentioned that, Jeff, and I've been talking, you know, when will the rezoning be done? Long story short, the nursing home in Midway is gonna
Yes.
build like, I call it a satellite campus
Right.
on the Ashmore property right there, so it's gonna be even
It was
more,
Tuesday.
yeah, even more traffic.
Is that the car key piece and all?
That's on the Molly Ashmore property.
Yeah, I think, it's, what, 10 or 12 acres? I forget. 10 acres, yeah. Mhm.
Actually, if you're getting into it, the part that's being rezoned for the nursing home is 10 acres, but the people that own the nursing home are buying the whole 20 acres.
Are they? Okay, okay, thank you, Jeff. Very timely then.
This year, we just need, if it's okay, and I know Mr. Long covered the time extension on the project, we would need a motion and a second just to extend that contract for those rain days for 40 days, is what he's recommending.
On the,
Well, that's to be on Third Street, Third Street.
Third Street.
Yeah, I did fly right by there. Thank you.
Somebody can stand in for Pat.
I'm sitting in the seat, I'll do it. So move, Mr. Chairman.
A second?
Second.
Motion and a second, we allow the extension. Any further discussion?
That's up to 40 days.
Yes, sir.
The quicker the better.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. All right,
Very much.
thank you, Mr. Brown.
And Trent, also, with that, the concept, I know Commissioner Gillett got it, but my district do run right there, and actually I live right behind Arlington, so if you keep me abreast of that as well, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
LCPC, Mr. Gandhi.
But Commissioner Gillett, I know you got it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. How are y'all doing tonight?
How are you, sir?
All right, so I brought the comprehensive plan back for you finally. It seems like it's been a while, but that has gone to the state, and DCA has looked over and approved our work program update. So this stuff right here is all exactly the same as what you've seen before. All that's happened is it's been sent to the state and they approved it, so nothing new really to see on this part. The only thing I do want to draw your attention to is these pages right here that look like this, the broadband addendum here.
Broadband, you got broadband coming?
We're about
Gunbranch?
to, looks like it.
Excuse me?
So, yeah, there's actually been a mandate from the state, and this is from back from 2018. They passed a legislative act that each community is going to have to produce, probably in the next 5 years or so, I'm gonna take this off, I'm sorry. In the next 5 years or so, produce a countywide plan here to extend broadband, and broadband is just high-speed internet and 5G towers, basically. So, this first page here is a list of standards that the state would like to see communities adopt. This is not any sort of a mandate at the top here, but there's some pretty interesting things up here they're recommending, but none of those are being mandated or acted upon today. These are just things that they're likely going to want to see in the next 5 or 10 years, moving towards this from the communities. The only thing that we're doing here today is that we are acknowledging that we are aware of this legislative act and that we are going to, in the next 5 years, for our next comprehensive plan update, create a multi-pronged plan with the rest of these cities in the county. So just a quick note on this, we're actually doing fairly well considering in Liberty County. The statewide, about 16% of Georgia doesn't have access to high-speed internet, and in Liberty County, it's only about 8% that doesn't have access. So we're doing a good bit better than the state average. So, but we will still need to be showing the state that we're making steps to, one, expedite the process for expanding cable networks and expanding 5G towers. And we will be doing that. We've got an update to our cell tower ordinance coming up too. So we will, LCPC will be working on that. But yeah, if y'all have any questions about this,
Joey, Liberty County doesn't qualify for any of the special attention that they're doing for the quote-unquote rural communities. We're not one of those that, like in southwest Georgia, where the governor has this special emphasis on helping out the rural.
I'm not aware. We will certainly can check into it.
Yeah.
First thing that came to my mind is a tower project that we put in for on the federal level to that would help with broadband availability. Could by allowing some of those folks to tag on to our tower, possibly to offer those towards the east end, which is kind of where it's lacking some, is on the eastern end of the county.
That's where it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Look into it. So you need us to approve this, sir?
Yes, sir. I need a resolution from you. I believe you have it right in front of you there. This is just a resolution to adopt the 2020 update to the comprehensive plan.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the resolution.
Is there a second to that?
Do you have to read it, Mr. Chairman? Do you? Second, then.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know if you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Commissioner Gill, I think we need to read the resolution.
Do we?
I sure can. To adopt the 2020 update of the Liberty County 2045 Long-Term Joint Comprehensive Plan, whereas Liberty County is subject to the State of Georgia Planning Act of 1989, which calls for a certified comprehensive plan in order to obtain and maintain the status of qualified local government. And whereas Liberty County is a member of the Coastal Regional Commission, an agency created to provide regional planning and intergovernmental coordination among certain county and city governments in the coastal area of Georgia. And whereas Liberty County Joint Comprehensive Plan was prepared according to the standards and procedures for local comprehensive planning established by the Georgia Planning Act of 1989 and was found compliant in meeting minimum standards by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. And now therefore be it resolved that the Liberty County Board of Commissioners adopts the Liberty County Joint Comprehensive Plan 2020 update. Be it further resolved that the resolution herein authorizes adoption as prescribed, effective this 22nd day of October 2020.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Gill. Okay, at home, got to hear the resolution. All right. We had a motion and we had a second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. Thank you.
Should I grab that signed copy from you?
Thank you, sir.
Sir. And with that, I just want to let you all know that every jurisdiction here has adopted the plan, so we are all set in Liberty County.
All right.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You too. IT, Mr. Stanley.
Good evening, everybody. Just a second here. Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, I'm going to stay back here so I can kind of...
As long as I know where you are. 'Cause I was looking for you.
I'm right behind
I was looking for you.
Hear the voice.
Everything I'm going to talk about is going to be up on the screen here. The commission approved refreshing the county website and going with the company Civics Plus. And the design committee has met several times with Civics Plus, and we're here tonight to show you what our new website is starting to look like. Just to refresh you, this is the current Liberty County website, which is a red, white, and blue color scheme. Highlights the history of Liberty County, in our buildings and with the Minuteman logo here. Our new website, we wanted it to be more focused on the current Liberty County, our natural beauty, the citizens of Liberty County, and we wanted a new, fresh color scheme. So Civics Plus has been meeting with us, as I said, and this is what we came up with. Now, keep in mind where it says Liberty County, that's where our logo is going to go. I'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. The website is a green and blue and tan color scheme. The center of it here shows it will be a rotating picture. The pictures that you're going to see are just placeholders, but the picture will be high resolution, very big picture that'll automatically rotate as people are visiting the website. Oops, sorry. The new website has what's called mega menus. So right now, to get to a department or to anything that you want to do on the website, you have to click through several layers of menus to find what you're looking for. The new mega menus will have everything on one menu within one tab. So if you're looking for a department where it says departments, it'll list out every department that's on the website. The menu will continue to grow as you need it to, so you can it's really 2 clicks away to find what you need. The search box over here is I think it's called adaptive search box, but as you type, it starts suggesting, it starts making suggestions of what it thinks you're looking for by just typing a few letters. So again, it's easier for the citizens to find what they're looking for. And all these menus will do the same thing. Again, big picture with a logo in the center and possibly something up here in the corner. The most accessed parts of the website are agenda minutes, legal notices, online services, maps, and employment are the big buttons here down at the bottom that are reactive when you move over them. Then as you move down, website changes to kind of a more blue color scheme. This section is going to be where we highlight events going on in the community, stuff with pictures. So anything going on, any kind of news that we want to highlight on the website with pictures and articles and stuff like that will be here in the middle. Scrolling on down is the latest news section, which will be our governmental stuff, RFP announcements, things like that, agendas, minutes, when we post all that kind of stuff. Over to the right is our county events calendar. And also, sorry, I got very little desk space back here. County meetings, and this will be for the Board of Commissioners, Board of Assessors, Board of Elections. Anybody that has meetings will show up on this calendar here. And if there is a meeting, the actual date will be highlighted, I believe, with a green color, and you can click on it and see what meetings are happening on that day. And then down at the bottom, you got our basic website stuff, contact information, social media links, our E-Verify information. And just to show you kind of what a department page, and please keep in mind this is all just placeholders. This is what a basic department page will look like. And it's real slow because this is in development. But the departments will basically be able to control everything in the center of the screen. They can add their own photos, their own videos, calendars if they wish to have calendars for their departments. All that kind of stuff is configurable in the center. And then over to the right will be basically what we have on our current web page, which is the department head, how to email them, their physical address, mailing address, phone numbers, and hours of operation. The entire site is ADA, I think it's ADA compliant for the visually impaired. That's right, okay. It's compliant for the visually impaired, so anybody that's has visual impairments will be able to basically hover over any element of the website, and if they have like a text reader, it'll read it to them. All the pictures will be compliant with that also. That's what we've come up with. And any comments, questions?
Can I tag a second?
Yes, sir.
So the goal was to get away with a standardized look. One thing that the pictures are just placeholders. We're going to be doing some very definitive, crisp pictures. As we looked at all the websites that we looked at models of, that was what stood out. We wanted a crisp, clean look. We wanted a business look. We selected the hot buttons at the bottom based on the business use that we have seen the most of over the past 4 or 5 years. That is also changeable. I think the good thing about this website, it is easily adaptable by us. The other did not offer the flexibility we needed. The other thing we're working hard on is we've got a staff personnel that's going to be, along with Clint, but basically Patty Bratcher, that is going to be monitoring the website for us. And so she's going to look to make sure that departments keep things up to date, that they've got the latest news post out there, that information that comes out of these meetings and things that need to be posted out of those sites are there. So that's part of her new duty also to do that. So again, a lot of it's adaptable, a lot of it's changeable. And the other thing we kind of looked at was, okay, what logo is it? And I know, I want to bring this up, when we talked about a logo going in the middle of the page. One of the things I said, well, what is that? Why have we got to have that shaded portion and all that? Well, that's part of the ADA, so that they can see the contrast difference in that texture or in that picture when they look. So again, that is one thing we were not compliant with. We will be now. So I don't know whether, Clint, you want to show the, so we kind of looked around. The Minuteman kind of walked in, and I think what we are suggesting is maybe he walk out for just a little while as we try to not get non-patriotic, still realize the theme and the historical things that are present. But in some of these websites we saw a much cleaner look of an image. Again, not that this can't be changed, but at least something to go forward with that was easily reproducible, because we're asked a lot of times to reproduce that image for different things, whether it be shirts or whether it be banners or something like that. And so this is one thing that we're kind of suggesting, is that we use a model of a live oak that's here. I mean, you won't see it redundantly in the website or anything, but just as a simple logo to go along with Liberty County. So It is still in development. We basically got it off of a totally black oak tree, and now we're trying to work with the coloring on it, again, to meet ADA requirements and some of those things to make it pop out a little bit. So again, it won't ride as a heavy image, but it'll be something on the side, so to speak.
So we're replacing the Minuteman with
The Minuteman would be replacing. The Minuteman's been hard to duplicate. It's been hard to put on, anytime you needed a county image of something, it's tough. The feet, as Clint said, the feet kind of go away. It's hard to do. And so, if not this, it needs to be something. And keep in mind, we can change it. Okay, so this isn't any kind of new logo reveal or any kind, we didn't go through that with the Minuteman. The Minuteman was a placeholder that represented a portion of Liberty County. So, I mean, this is really all we're talking about this being too. If we wanted to go through an image reveal and do some of those things like businesses do, we can certainly do that. We're just trying to pop up at least a clean placeholder in here right now as we work towards the end of the year trying to get this developed.
let's say that we decide on the live oak, would that be the decal on our public works vehicles as well?
It could be as we change, yes, sir.
I mean, it's the Minuteman now, right?
Yes, sir. Well, on some.
On some?
And on some, it's the clock, isn't it?
And on some, it's the seal, it's the clock. Yeah, so, if we want to go to an official logo, then, and I don't know, that's what this is meant to be, the official logo. This is a website capture that replaces that
Website.
theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but the logo, it should be the logo.
Well, I don't disagree.
Right. Is this the only option that is on the table right now?
Well, it's just, we were.
I mean, I understand what you were saying, like a
No, sir,
placeholder.
no, sir, and to be honest with you, we knew we needed to replace the Minuteman.
Right.
The options, as we looked around what other communities had done, was something pretty simple, but it is not. The only thing we are in a time lapse on in the next few weeks is to, at least for right now, get a placeholder for the website.
Right.
And then if we wanted to do an official logo, then go through that, have plenty of time to look, and then pop the change in.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
Right, I was just trying to get clarification on that. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Whatever you want to do going forward.
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, sir. We were just trying to get
I
things
like when
locked
you
down.
drop it.
Right, and I guess with me,
The other one.
whenever I visualize,
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that
you know,
way.
dealing with logos and everything, I believe in simplicity. If you look at, really, even if you look at it from the marketing standpoint, there are certain logos that you don't even have to read what company it is. Like, for example, McDonald's. You know, you see the arches, you don't have to read that it's McDonald's. You know that that logo connects you with McDonald's. Same way with Chick-fil-A and everything else. My humble opinion, and I could just speak for me, yeah, I'm not really feeling that one right there, because it's just, and I understand, like you said, it's a placeholder right now, but I think that we really need to focus on the identity of Liberty County, of course, representing the past, but also we need to acknowledge the present and focus on the future. I think that was my campaign slogan, but with all jokes aside, you're right. I just, you know, and even with my businesses, all my logos are simple, straight cut, clean, and that's what I'm saying. I understand whenever you're dealing with logos, and especially whenever you're trying to replicate them and mass produce them, it has to be. But even with that one, I don't know how easy that one would be able to duplicate dealing with the logo because of the grass, and I don't.
Yeah,
I'm right, because I'm saying, I know with you know, even with my businesses that I have, that, and even with dealing with the shirts that I make, that is not an easy one to
Just
duplicate.
a suggestion, I think maybe that feel is universal, is that what we'll do, because we need to go ahead and wrap up the website.
Right.
So as we identify Liberty County, we may just use that for right now in the corner. And then if I'm hearing what we want to do, then we'll go through the process.
I think we should.
Of doing an official county logo.
Right.
That we really ought to trademark or mark.
Absolutely.
Nobody can copyright it or nobody else can take it. It will need to have something about Liberty County and Georgia, because there's obviously other Liberty counties around the nation. So, but that'll be great.
Absolutely.
I think we'd love to do
Yeah,
that.
I think if we use that as a placeholder, and then, I mean,
Absolutely.
again, I mean, we could put it out to the community to you know, make it a contest, you know, and then also that could bring on the community to get involved with the branding.
Sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
but I do understand, like, the history. But, I mean, I totally agree as well that we need to focus on the present and the future as well, so.
So we'll just go through, if we'll just hold it temporarily, and then the first part of the year, we'll start on the branding.
Sounds
and go
good.
through that branding process.
Right, I'm just happy that we upgraded from the old website that still had the ticker
Yeah.
at the bottom.
But just
And
make the
really, to
tree,
be honest with
make
you,
the tree
too,
green.
Yeah, really,
what they
look,
were
really, to be honest with you, too,
Trying
just
to-
tinkering
yeah,
with it a couple
top
of
part.
days, is that I don't think any of us are real crazy about this, and I think we'd welcome a branding exercise. It doesn't do it justice to see it on a plain piece of paper sitting there and not loaded into a website, somewhere.
Right.
It looks like it's just overbearing right there, and it's really,
Right.
it really doesn't show real good, so.
Well, to me, it looks like it does, to me, looking at it, looks like it captures maybe the coast in the background, you know, with the seagrass or whatever that's growing behind there. Kind of looks like the coast in the back, you know, a big oak tree. Yeah, overlooking the coastline down there.
Great imagination, y'all.
So,
You got a shrimp boat in the background.
yeah, get the shrimp boat back there. We'll make it up right now.
Oh, I see all that. I see the crabs in the back. I see it all.
You
Yeah,
know,
but-
the less detail, the better.
Yeah.
On that image, as Commissioner Frazier was mentioning, for duplication and for uses on whatever you're gonna put on the cars and stuff. So
I'm just
we'll
saying,
go through that.
right, marketing 101, when
But
you're
you
dealing with
know-
logos, you make them as simple as possible so it's more recognizable.
It does seem to have a crown on the top, though.
See, I mean, that's
It does.
Hey, notice that.
I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice that.
No, I
Smooth it out.
Maybe birds on it.
I see birds. That's what I'm going to say.
and a bear and two beavers.
Actually, it looks
This
like
is
a
really getting
caterpillar
bad. I gotta
running
turn the
over a
lights
limb.
Hey,
Kind of like it.
hey, no,
Do some modification.
Joe, I had one question for Clint. Clint, when you were going through it, you said that you click on departments and that departments can
Update.
update their page. Now,
Yes, sir.
Are we gonna have some kind of policing over this? I mean, we got a building and license department guy here who may wanna mow his grass bareback. I don't know if we need to. He didn't even hear me. I'm not gonna say it again, but what I'm saying though is, someone wants to put something on their page, Clinton Road Department.
Right.
And he can, but it's need to be, somebody need to make sure that, you know, this is going, you know,
Yeah, so,
this is okay.
that's right. So there's a couple of things
Oh,
happening.
you missed it, man. I gave you a
there's-
shout out, but
No,
never
you
mind.
didn't.
There's a couple of things happening. First, along with this rollout of the website, we do have someone that is going to monitor that as part of their job. It is, they will not only monitor what goes on there, but to make sure pages are updated, make sure they're accurate, and they're also already responding to Facebook and some of those type things, which people want to know about. The other part of that is the social media policy that we're in the process. We've drawn down one. We're taking a look at it now. That'll be implemented. So that'll be handed out to all the departments and say, all right, here are the things that we will do and we won't do. Here is that. And then there's another level of check there too that we could implement where they could submit that, but it had to go through, I don't say a review, that sounds tedious, But just to make sure it's okay. Yes, sir, it's going to be monitored.
Well, yeah, and that's good. 'Cause, I mean, you can have the policies. You can have the
Yeah, we
policies,
got a person
and
that-
someone violate the policies, there's actions against them. But if they violate it and it's live, you know, it's tomorrow when we discipline that person. But right now, it's live if someone violated it. So that's why I said, are there going to be checks to say, well, here's what our department want to put on there, and someone's got to say yay or nay. I mean, you just, if you let them do it in the comforts of their department, and then it goes live, it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could set something like that up. Again, we're blending it with another job that they have also. All those, I'll tell you that this is a primary. Will be one of the primary reasons for them to do it. They weren't hired to do that, but they will.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I think we can we feel good that nothing will ever happen? We're gonna do the best we can. I think we'll do pretty well.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just one more question, Joey. So I remember the replacement of the old website because of the conference. I think you and I went to, and ACCG had a internship program, and you remember we won the money to be able to do that. But even with the old website, didn't the departments have access to updating?
Well, they did.
But right.
Huge difference with this website
Right.
is the simplicity of
Right.
those changes versus
Right.
the old one. It very complicated.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, technology every 2 weeks is. I mean, my Apple phone is messing up now because the new one's coming out. So, I mean, that's how they do it. Everything's moving slow over here.
All right, you done?
So we're on a pretty fast track. Obviously, the desire is to have the website operational, before the end of the year in December, as a matter of fact. So, again, understanding and totally
Placeholder.
agree. Placeholder for now.
Placeholder.
Right.
We'll go through a branding with possibly contest, whatever. We'll have some more discussion about that. And in March with an official logo.
Sounds good.
That'd be great.
Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Liberty County Addressing Manual.
There is one other thing. Give me just 30 seconds.
Yeah.
As part of that website and a tight deadline, we need to take some pictures of the commissioners as a group and individually. And I wanted to see if you wanted to try to do that at the next meeting, the next regular meeting in a couple of weeks. We could get you to get into your attire and come, and we'll try to have those done.
I'm always in my attire.
I started to say district Friday night.
But I mean, actually, we took
just remind
pictures,
us.
and I don't think none of us changed.
Just remind us.
from the last
Well,
pictures.
but again,
That was a joke. That was
Well-
a joke.
That's election day too, the next meeting.
quality of pictures
Right.
is going to be important here. And so I want to get somebody professional to do those with a good digital look.
You don't have a photographer on staff, do you?
I do.
You probably have one.
Man, I do, man. Whatever y'all need with technology, I got it. Website developer. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Key.
One call, that's all, baby.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Hunter Key. I'm the Director of Information Services for the Coastal Regional Commission. And this is kind of a presentation to talk about a project that we're wrapping up after about a year and a half and to introduce the next steps. So as you all may know, next generation 911 technology kind of brought around the CAD 911 system about a year and a half ago. And that's dependent on GIS data for that process. Those new next-gen technology is going to handle text and video all the way to the 911 call center. And address point data and road center line data is a key component of that from the beginning of the call all the way to the end. So as we came involved about a year and a half ago, it was to help develop that data. And so there was really 5 things that we did at that time. Was one, to develop that address point data for every house and business and structure in Liberty County so that we could make it live in the 911 system. 2 was to make the road center line with each line represented a right-left range as a redundant way to locate addresses, and that has been completed. And then the other 3 items were an addressing manual that consolidated the rules and reference systems for the counties and the cities into one manual and follows that up with a ordinance that points to the manual. And then the final step of those is a team, a addressing council and a technical committee that can resolve issues and fix problems as they arise and follow the reference system. So the manual is completed and the ordinances have been drafted. And I'm here to kind of introduce those as we put them out for review. And then there'll be a follow-up to get those voted on after there's been some viewing of them. The tail end of that, the addressing council and the technical committee, I've been visiting with all the cities in Liberty County with the same kind of discussion so that we can get 100% involvement. We have done this in another county where we didn't get 100%, and it's still a challenge at this point. So that final piece, the addressing council, is either delegated by these cities, sometimes that's LCPC, and the technical group is those workers and addressing and GIS folks who have been already using that reference system to accomplish that process. And so with that, we're excited about it coming to this level. There's some other pieces to this project that were ahead in the state. We're a pilot. The Liberty County, Camden County, and McIntosh have all come together for this as a MAR, a Master Address Repository it's been built along with this, and the state's taking notice and helping us with some funding to continue that. So that's kind of an extra component. Really, for today, it's those 5 things, and to introduce them as they come in front of you here in the next month or two with the final manual, ordinance, and a resolution on who to delegate for those addressing council and technical group positions. So with that, I'll answer any questions, but thank you for your time.
I just got one quick question. You said the counties are McIntosh, Camden, Liberty, and?
At this stage, McIntosh, Camden, and Liberty.
Okay.
And then we are in discussions with a couple other counties, and Long is what we're hoping to use some state to fund, since it's a little lower population and lower funding, and bring them in as well.
Right. So I guess I was thinking about the geographical map. Why wouldn't Glenn be a part of it? I mean,
they are.
Okay.
Eventually, they are going to be a part of it. Okay. Glenn, as a former employee of Glenn, I know that they have been managing their addresses for about 15 years, and they'll probably join when we can give them some added value. So it'll probably be a little bit of, to be honest with you, Liberty County has neighborhoods and subdivisions that go in and out of Liberty to Long.
Right.
And so there's a real need to make sure that Long.
And we're connected.
Brian.
On that side, right.
Glenn County stops at the Altamaha and stops at the other, river.
Right, the
so
river,
they're kind of
landlocked.
pinned in there. So they'll come on board probably when the rest of the value is there.
I like your answer. In other words, y'all, we need to step it up.
As the pilot, there is I've been on a number of calls where they're very anxious and excited about what is happening with this data set, and also how you're handling anomalies. Every county has it. Places in the county where there's 2 Oak lanes. When there's a dispatch, which Oak lane do you go to? And how you're handling that with a manual, how you're putting the addressing council together to decide on how to resolve it, and how you have a database that says, here's the broken spots. When you're getting ready to fix them, they're all lit up. Everybody knows where they are. It's just a matter of working through them when you can, and when there's sometimes political will on really difficult roads that are hard to address. Those are always going to be there and always going to be a real challenge.
Right, like 1st and 2nd Street is in Hinesville. And Commissioner Gillard, 3rd Street is where? Isn't that the one?
Midway.
In Midway.
And at Lake George.
And Lake George.
3 of them.
Right. So there's ways of, one becomes FIRST and one becomes one, and maybe someone's becomes Southwest, and, depending on where they're in the county. There's a lot of things that the technical group is gaining knowledge and experience on can make solid recommendations. And when they do have those, they'll likely come back before you with a option A, B, and C.
Okay.
This is the most,
Practical.
best one, and this is kind of the least painful.
Okay.
All right, thank you all.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, performance bonds, Habersham Plantation Phase 2. Mrs. Ekman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to make an observation real quick. When I sat down, I noticed Mr. Mosley's socks. And I thought, boy, those are some nice, fancy socks. And then District 2 came in. Anyway, it's things you see when you're last. I'm gonna take my mask off so my glasses won't
Be
fall.
glad your cousin ain't here, because he wouldn't have no socks on.
This Mr. Way, doing business, Charles Way, doing businesses, CCW Development. He's doing Phase 2 in Habersham Plantation, College at Habersham, excuse me. And he's requested that his performance bond be reduced because he has his pavement in place, his signage is in place. I've inspected it. It's what it needs to be. Mr. Long's people have inspected it and they're satisfied. It's Tondi Way is the name of the road. I also want to emphasize the maintenance bond and the warranty bond are still fully in place. Has nothing to do with them. This is just a performance bond. He wants it to be reduced from $66,352.13 to $1,681.80. That is the bond remaining for the street grassing and a 15% contingency. And I would recommend reducing that bond by that amount.
Mr. Chairman.
Where is this located at?
It's at Habersham on 196 East.
East?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's an old subdivision that's been ongoing for a long time.
I'm gonna drive
This
in
is
there one
Phase
day.
2.
That's one of
Me
the
too.
big
I
flag
keep
at.
thinking I
Sir.
am.
Driving there
The
one
big
day.
flag at.
Yep, that's right, one where the big flag is.
So I was just wondering, Mr. Zetman, Mr. Chairman, why does, that's a substantial amount, and why can't he go ahead and get what he needs done and just wipe it all off?
Well, he's got to do the grassing.
Yeah.
That's
Is that the
really-
only thing left, is the grassing?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
why don't
but
he-
there's
if
still,
he-
there's ongoing work going on in ditches and putting in culvert pipes and that kind of stuff. And so if he grasses it, it'll just get destroyed right now. He's just going to wait and grass it. He would probably prefer to go ahead and let it and grass it.
I
But
still don't understand that. Or I'm not following you or something here. He wants us to reduce the bond from 66 to 1,600?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the only thing he has left to do is grass.
grass.
So why don't he grass it tomorrow and you come back up next month and he's finished?
Well, it's not time for the grass. I mean, there's still ongoing work with ditches and culvert pipes and all that. And if you go in there and grass it, it's just going to get destroyed.
So we don't have a bond on culverts and sidewalks?
Yes, ma'am. That's what we're recommending, that it go ahead and be reduced
Give
because
me a minute.
because he does have all those other improvements in place. And there's really no sense. The performance bond is only to get the material in place, and the maintenance bond stays in effect to make sure it works.
So there's two.
So we've certified he's got the stuff in place for everything but the grassing.
Okay.
The other part of that is with the work going on too, it's not really grassing season. And we wouldn't want to come back and reduce the performance bond on the grassing until the stand of grass is fully established. So,
Okay.
all he'd be able to do right now is put down ryegrass temporarily, even if the work wasn't going on, and we wouldn't want to release the performance bond based on ryegrass.
Okay, I understand.
Grass grow quick.
I understand.
It just won't be there, no.
It don't last very long.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's pretty for some minute.
How many lots are we talking about?
Huh?
How many lots are you talking?
I'm guessing about, I think it's 21, 25 lots,
Somewhere in
something like
there,
that.
somewhere in that
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
And
something like that.
are they all built out?
No, he's got 3 houses built in there, working on 3 houses, and I think, I was in there today, and I think there was a 4th one being framed up in there. But, hopefully they'll move.
Hopefully they'll move.
Everything else is moving. I
Yeah,
don't see why
yeah.
they won't.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
right.
You're right.
And that's it.
All right, Chair, entertain the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make that motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, we approve the performance bond request. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, sir, thank you. Segment, you still up,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Segment? House Bill 381, designated agent.
Okay, this is House Bill 381, designated agent. I've got a feeling who that might be.
Good chance.
This bill is to do with mobile homes. It's not to aid the county, it's to aid the individuals. And I'll give you an example. Mr. Brown's got a lot, and he rents to me to put my trailer on. And I haul Buddy, and he ain't collecting his money. He has no way to get rid of that trailer legally. This bill enables him to do that. The agent, which will be somebody I know good, will go out to this. The burden will be on Mr. Brown to come to my office with the serial numbers, the make, the model of the trailer, the address, everything. The burden will be on him. He'll come, it'll be on him to prove that it's abandoned, not to me, but to the court ultimately. Then I'll go out there and I'll look at that mobile home and I'll determine whether it's derelict, can be torn down, or if it's intact and can be livable. At that point, I send Mr. Brown a letter telling him what my findings are. He goes to Superior Court, Magistrate Court, depending on which way it goes. And he gets his relief on that mobile home. And there's a waiting period. It's 90 days in the beginning and 90 days in the middle. So it's a 6-month process. And, but the burden's all on the property owner to do it, other than the designated agent determining if it's livable or not livable. That's it in a nutshell.
Law actually came in last year when we started to have our first cases of it now. The magistrate judge came and met last year with me about that to say we might start seeing some because the state set up that process he described. And there were also mobile homes that were just being left on properties, abandoned, pulled off to the side, most of them derelict, left on vacant pieces of land. And there was, under Georgia code, there was no way to dispose of them as a property owner. So this clears title. This allows the judge to do a ruling to do the disposition. Basically, is what
We need that, man.
So if you've got a mobile home that's bought in Jessup, and he brings it over and puts it on Mr. Brown's lot, and says, I'm gonna rent your lot for $500 a month or whatever, he still owes for the mobile home, and
That's right.
he leaves, when he pulls out, Mr. Brown is short $1,000 because he felt sorry for him and didn't let him pay the first 2 months, and he don't even get to keep the mobile home?
Oh, he can go to the Superior Court and get a lien on it. It's a lien on that mobile home. So when that mobile home goes away, he gets his money.
Well, yeah, and
When
of
it's
course, if
sold.
there's a financial institution involved, they'll have first lien rights.
Right.
Most time what would happen is that bank would come, whoever he owes money to, not the property owner, not who owns the park.
Property owner would be out,
The
probably.
property owner would be out there unless there's some kind of filing he's allowed to do. But that wouldn't cover this at all. That's not, yes, sir, it wouldn't be the same kind of situation.
So what does this bill do, Paul, for mobile home salespeople? I mean, are they gonna be saying, wait a minute, we're not gonna be doing no financing because?
Well, I don't think it'll affect that at all.
Really?
No, I don't think it'll affect it at all. I think all this does is it gives the property owner a way
Some type of
to
rights.
get rid of that mobile home eventually and collect his money if that mobile home's sold.
Same way they would with a car then?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then if I declare it derelict, he goes to magistrate court and she issues an order that he can tear it down and get rid of it.
Okay, yeah, sounds like that.
Joey, is this a similar scenario to the one we dealt with where there was a sister left a mobile home on her sister's property? in the Midway area, remember that?
That's the one I just sent,
Could,
Mr. Brown. That's the one I
could
just
be
sent
if
you
she
just
had
now.
title
Yeah,
to that property and somebody just left it,
yeah,
and then it gives her a right to petition to have it
Okay.
moved. Yes,
Okay.
sir, it would.
all right.
Okay.
All right.
And so
But
what,
and it won't come before us, is what I'm saying, no more.
Mm-hmm.
It'll always, that's what we want to do, we'll make sure it stays in somebody else's home.
Who's going to be your agent?
so, as well, so what it asked the commission to do.
I didn't volunteer.
Yeah, what it asks the commission to do is to name an agent for handling those matters if they come up, and the recommendation is they be handled through inspections, for the simple reason that he just described.
That's what he did.
I'd like to make a motion.
And y'all killed my joke.
I
had a
would
joke.
entertain it.
Turn that over to the building inspector and let him designate who the designated agent would be.
I have a second on that.
I'm gonna have a sub-agent, I can assure you.
You want your designated, okay, all in favor? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Start tomorrow.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Bids and excavator, Mr. Mosley.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, excavator went down. And, sent a RFP out and received bids from 5 vendors. A committee consisting of Mr. Wells, Mr. Beasley, and myself evaluated the 5 vendors, and we are recommended it be awarded to Flint Equipment in the amount of $268.50. That price does include a $10,000 trade-in for a 2001 John Deere 230 LC excavator. And Mr. Brown said the funds for it will be coming from the SPLOSH 6 capital expense for drainage.
Well, with that, Mr. Chairman, looked like it scored a 95.33,
260.
260.
Mr. Chair, I guess this question for the committee. The bid, I guess, number 5, they came in at the lowest and have wanted, well, other than the third with the trading value, but they scored one of the lowest. Is that for?
It's a company that has, they're migrating to Georgia, but they don't have any foundation in Georgia.
Foundation, yeah.
Where's Flint, Mr.
The
Mosley?
other thing is, you see that to the side of it, Commissioner?
Oh, you talking about
Huh?
the brand?
That's it, that's what kind of, it's kind of like, we used to buy Ford and now we buy Dodges.
Or people buy Fords and we buy Chevys, right?
Mr. Chairman, where Flint Equipment, where is that, Mr. Mosley? Do anyone know?
I think they're in Savannah.
They are in Savannah,
In
yes.
Savannah?
We've had dealings with them before. They got
Savannah.
good service. They offer.
We've done business with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that receiving days, so they got one down there on the lot right now?
Ready to go, yes, sir.
Evidently, that's a good thing. We got to get that and get it to work.
Well, that
Excavator.
probably is what helped with their score.
Yes, exactly.
With their scoring. We just go down there tomorrow and get it and just dig our way back.
Crank it up.
Dig out clean ditches on our.
We got a couple employees that need to be on
Chair,
it.
entertain a motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the bid for the excavator for Flint Equipment,
In the amount of,
$260,850.
did I hear a second, Commissioner Stevens? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Bids award to Flint Equipment.
I think they were in Gum Branch when it went down.
Really? Announcements, Mr. Brown?
Just real quickly, yes, sir. We received an employee appeal that needs to get scheduled before the board. I wanted to see if the board would entertain, as so many days under policy it has to be done, would entertain possibly doing that before your November 3rd meeting, about 4:30. If that's okay, I don't anticipate it'll take long. If you would entertain that. I need to get a notice back out to that employee.
Okay.
You gonna,
Y'all send us a heads up ahead of time.
Yes, sir, we will.
Okay.
okay.
We certainly will.
You, for that, Joey, I mean, you would need as many of us as possible? I mean, do you, I mean?
I really need a majority.
Majority?
Not a majority. I need a quorum.
A quorum, okay. So we need at least 4 here at 4:30 that day. Now that-
Everything is good but the 26th for me.
Can we do it before November 3rd? the
Yeah.
November 3rd meeting, is that okay?
Yeah, any day
I
but the
figured we
20.
could do that.
And that day.
That's election
Yes, sir, is
day.
that okay?
I'm sorry? Any day but? Or are you saying to do it on the 20th?
No, can we do it on November 3rd?
We taking pictures too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You reminded me, we got a lot going on.
Get you in, I don't
Man,
want,
this is
I
my best
3 o'clock.
suit, man. I don't have to wear it
don't
again.
want to have to pull you in here any more than we have to, so
I
Yeah.
understand.
Good, good.
I appreciate that.
that's okay.
Okay.
You say November
Third.
November 3rd,
Next
Just give us
meeting
the time, and
okay. That's your
we
next
won't know
meeting.
the results for 2 weeks.
I figured it out. Okay.
The other thing, normally, yes, sir, normally we have the employee service awards in the November, December timeframe, and committee's been meeting to try to discuss how and when to try to do that. It doesn't look doable. There's just no way to assemble that number of people in any kind of environment. And work's going on at the Schumann Center during that time. Recommendation of committee is what we try to do for the retirees is bring them into the December commission meeting and have a recognition as part of that meeting to those retirees to be there. And that we postpone the service awards actually until spring to see if we can get those in an outdoor environment. Because the departments all like to do that, but that we need to really go ahead and recognize the retirees. Of course, we would invite them back also.
Right, okay.
So that's kind of a recommendation for that. You do hold in your hand a retirement notice, actually of a walkthrough CDC protocol event for Miss Deborah Whitehurst,
No.
who's retiring at the end of the month. So that's going to be right here in this room on the 30th from 2 to 4. We'll be socially distanced. It'll be a walkthrough. Can't come in and sit down, but much just like Miss Evelyn, when Miss Evelyn left. So again, hope you'll try to be here for that. I'll get Patty to send you out a little something. You had a quick discussion over the T-Splosh about when it started. So we'll start to receive those revenues in November. And just kind of a heads up that, the commission really needs to have some discussion then about how they want to disperse those monies among themselves that's going to come. And so didn't know whether we want to try to talk about that maybe in the November mid-month.
Mid-month.
If that's okay. Try to put that on the mid-month, okay? And then I've mentioned the photos. And that's it, sir.
Just one question for Joey. I think at the first meeting last month, we talked about doing some reconstruction up here. I mean, where are we with that?
So there was, I think, I might have mentioned, and if I didn't, I apologize. There's a 10-week lead time for construction to start in there. And so we issued that purchase order right after that meeting. So it'll be another month or two. I would say first of the year is probably a good time frame. I'm in touch with him regular. We do have to do some other work that he doesn't do, but my expectation was the first of the year to have that fully completed with some sound requirements too.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
So I'll still be down here? Have a distraction?
I don't want you back up here.
It's all good.
All right, is that all for good order? Chair, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second, all in favor?
All right.